Homer became a truck driver, and on his first time driving a truck, his arms turned red because he wasn't familiar with the controls, so he pulled down the unloading rope, causing the cargo box behind him to dump its load right there on the spot. In order to drive his truck all night long, Homer went to the market and consumed an entire bottle of stimulants along with a bunch of sleeping pills to neutralize them. But as soon as Homer got in the truck, he fell asleep. Just as he was about to fall off the road, the truck actually turned around automatically and safely drove Homer to a gas station, where Homer woke up when he heard the bell. Homer shared this incident with people around him, and they explained that everyone's trucks have autopilot systems, and they hoped Homer would keep it secret for them, warning that if the secret was leaked, he would be hunted down by the Truckers Association. Ever since learning that trucks could drive themselves, Homer stopped taking driving seriously, sitting on the truck's hood and showing off the autopilot's capabilities to people passing by. Meanwhile, the Truckers Association discovered that someone had leaked the secret, and after pinpointing Homer's location, they decided to teach Homer a lesson. So a group of trucks chased after Homer's truck, constantly attacking him. One driver jumped from his truck onto Homer's truck hood, but was knocked down by a water spray.
Whoa, look at it roll!
And then they discovered that the road ahead was blocked by many trucks. Homer floored the gas pedal and forcibly crashed through that group of trucks, but the autopilot system got fed up and ejected itself to escape. The father and son fastened their seatbelts and followed the truck as it broke through the encirclement. Seeing this scene, the Truckers Association acknowledged that Homer was a real man.
Now that man is a genuine steel-belted gear-jamming brake jockey.
Apu's store was renovated by his nephew, and heartbroken, he clutched a photo of his former store and fell off a cliff together with it. The story begins with Springfield hosting a statue parade day, where you could see robots that could twist their arms, the police department's tank, Fantasy Guy's handsome men, and the fire department. The fire truck brought everyone a spectacular performance, but just then, Red saw Bart appear at the fire truck's water tank, and he aimed the nozzle at Wiggum, causing a battle to break out on the verge of erupting. The tank went out of control and charged toward Apu's store, and Apu and the customers were all trapped under the building. Homer witnessed how Bart's prank was born, and he showed Bart the footage with his camera.
Like a rumba! What are you gonna do, man?
Homer said that Bart had to promise him to never pull pranks again, and Bart had no choice but to agree to Homer's demand. Bart cut the power to the store, and the fruits instantly lost their freshness, the fresh meat rotted, the milk expired and grew bugs, the bananas sprouted moths, and even the cheese grew mushrooms, scaring the women into screaming loudly as customers fled the store. Bart restarted the store's power, and several Flintstones fell on Apu's clothes and ignited them, causing a fire. The fire truck quickly arrived at the scene, but they discovered there was no water in the tank, and Apu's store was consumed by the flames. Just then, Apu found a scratch-off lottery ticket and decided to spend $2 to take a gamble. Finally, the scratch-off revealed 3 identical figures, and Apu won the jackpot. He used this money to build a new store. Marge wanted to have another child with Homer, but when Homer went to the hospital for a checkup, he discovered that all his little tadpoles had died. Marge was very disappointed that she couldn't have more children with Homer, when Moe suddenly spoke up and said, "Why don't you go get back those little tadpoles you sold to the sperm bank before?
You never told me about that!
I took that money and bought you a necklace with it." Marge looked at the necklace around her neck and suddenly saw an opportunity, but Homer was still struggling with whether to tell Marge the truth that he didn't want children. The next day, they set off on the road to the sperm bank, and Homer deliberately drove onto another small road to delay time. They decided to visit the Christmas Decoration Museum, and then they found an ice lodge to stay in. They kissed in bed and then went to sleep, and Homer told Marge his true thoughts, which made Marge very angry, and Homer was kicked out. At the restaurant, Homer saw a family of 6, and watching that family's father playing with the youngest child, Homer's mindset began to change. Marge saw Homer's behavior and decided to forgive him, but Marge no longer wanted to have children. They came to the sperm bank wanting to retrieve the sample, but unfortunately, Homer's last sample had been reserved by a couple. Just as this couple was still thinking about whether they wanted the sample, they saw Homer himself appear, and instantly their desire to have children disappeared. Homer successfully secured the last sample. Marge stood in front of Homer's bragging wall admiring Homer's achievements, and then another one of Homer's accomplishments was hung up. Seeing that photo, they decided not to have children after all.